Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy Ant, one half of Delinquent Duo, coming at you with a Drytron deck profile for the July 2021 format. We just got a ban list that hit a lot of really good decks, and it's looking like Drytron is actually going to be the combo deck to beat for this format, and it is definitely very, very strong. The version that I'm playing right now is a little bit different than maybe what you guys maybe used to be seeing. A lot of the standard builds that are going around right now are using IDATEN and everything like that, but this deck doesn't even play any of that. So it's pretty much heavily inspired from Jibril XD, his list, DB, and his recent top with this deck has pretty much allowed me to see the way and cut out all the garbage that is in the deck and put in just the best stuff that you need. So I'm going to go over and explain what that is for you guys in this deck profile. If you guys like the content, please give us a like and sub to the channel, of course. Without further ado, let us get into it. So as we all know, this deck is pretty much crazy, right? It's really, really consistent, and you do end up with like bricks in the old version of the deck, but with this version, you're only breaking on like hand traps and stuff, because you have these really, really powerful consistency pieces, E-Telly and Rhoda for all your Drytron monsters right here, and you get to play each at 3 copies, so it's just really, really cracked. Obviously, we all know that this deck, this might even get limited to one day, who knows. It's really, really, really good. You basically want to see those pretty much every single time, because all you need for this deck to start your combo is 2 Drytron names. So those 2 names you really want to start out with are usually the Alpha and the Zeta. This is the one that gets your Ritual Monster, and this is the one that gets your Ritual Spell. So this is pretty much going to be searching Ben 10 all the time, and then this is what's going to be getting your Ritual Spell. Starting with these 2 off is pretty much one of the strongest combos in your deck, and yeah, that's pretty much why you play all those to see it in the beginning. So those are like your turn 1 guys. These are usually what you're going to be using for the rest of the games, turns like 2, 3. Obviously you're going to go to Gamma usually in your first turn combo as well, but these are what you're going to be using mostly, because these are the ones that give you the best advantage. Usually you go through all your ritual spells and ritual monsters like when you're done with your combo, and you don't really need these as much, only for certain amounts of like very, very small follow-up. But yeah, you're just going to be using these to destroy your opponent for the rest of their turn anyways. I only played 3 extra of these ones because they're kind of bricks, because they don't really start and get you a Ben 10, but they're pretty good to have. And Gamma's pretty good to open up. You can consider playing 3 of him if you want, because it kind of plays into hand traps a little bit better if you have them in your hand. But I just play it as these copies because we also play the pseudo Drytron names, which are basically Foolish Burial and Fafnir. We also actually have Terraforming in the deck, so that's kind of like another copy of Fafnir to get Nova. But yeah, these are just little extra pieces to make Drytron count up to like at least 19 ways to see at least a Drytron monster. And that makes the deck really, really consistent, because half your deck is just stuff that you can draw and get a combo. Especially when you're done with your combo, going into like your turn 2, you've already gone through like half of your deck, and any top deck at that point is just insane. For the Ferry Package right here, this is the other engine of the deck pretty much. It searches you all the good fairy stuff that you end on, and it's basically the replacement, like everything that we had to do with like Union Carrier and stuff like that. Trying to use Preparation of Rites, we don't even need any of that stuff anymore. All we need is just Diviner, because it's like basically searches you everything because it sends Herald. So really gets your engine going, and opening up like a Herald and the Zeta is a really, really good combo that you're going to be using a lot as well, because all you need to do is just have this. Like, you just need a Ritual Spell and Ben 10, and as long as you could search that a bunch of times, you're going to be able to cycle Ben 10 a bunch and end on Ultimateness with like 5 negates in your hand. So that is really, really good. Obviously Ben 10 is going to search you this in the normal combo as well, but you gotta play 3 because opening this isn't too bad. It helps you play through a lot of hand traps. For the rest of the bricks of the deck, the things that you usually want to search out, it's very, very small, and the goal of this deck is to kind of trim the fat a little bit and like reduce all of the like ritual monsters that you would have to play in order to try to go like full crazy combo. You don't really need to go full combo a lot of the time. You could just end on IP, 4 negates in hand with ultimateness, and that's pretty much enough. And then in order to play around Droll, you could play another boss monster with the Draconids right here, because you can kind of send him off of Mu Beta Fafnir. Sometimes you can get it to be like at least like 2 sends with this, and a Spell and Trap negate with this. So that's not too bad. A lot of boards also you can end on are like just Draconids, Fafnir with the Spell and Trap negate, and then Orange, Light, and Eva in your hand. And then you have like basically 2 hand traps, 2 sends, and a Spell and Trap negate, which is like definitely enough to beat a lot of decks. And it's one of the reasons I like playing like the bigger Drytron engine and a smaller the Ritual engine, because it just kind of helps you play through a lot of stuff. And it's just really good inherent follow-up to have with all the actual pieces that talk to each other. Really good. So you only got to play 2 of those ritual bricks. Also, you play 2 Eva. This is kind of like another brick of the deck technically, because you really want to search this off and send it with Beatrice. So with your combo, a lot of times if you like end up with one of either of these in hand, or like another fairy monster in your hand, or like a diviner that you don't have to search, you could actually just search your Eva, and then you could send Eva on the same turn. So you end up with like 4 negates in your hand already. And you basically just end up with like 6 fairies in your hand with all the stuff for ultimateness, and your opponent just can't beat that. Like nobody's beating that. And then it doesn't even matter if they Dark Ruler you, because you just have the Spell and Traps. You just have the Gamma effect in your hand anyways with Orange, so it doesn't even matter. For the final 2 bricks, you could say, are the ritual spells. So you gotta play 2 ritual spell, because you don't play IDATEN, but you can't recycle your ritual spell, and having 2 really comes up because you need to be able to like extend off of it with like Mu Beta Fafnir. Because you can detach materials from this, you don't really lose that much board presence, and it kind of lets you play, with multiple like extenders. This basically becomes multiple extenders, because you can get Ben 10 once, and then in certain hands you can, like, if you didn't use Zeta initially, you can just search it again, and then you get like another Ben 10 search basically. So it comes up, and then if you guys play the deck, then you'll kind of understand the situations and scenarios where actually having 2 is a lot better. And of course, nobody can DD Crow this or Cosmic this or whatever, and then just have your stuff be turned off. So it's really good just to play 2. It kind of bricks a little bit sometimes, but like I said, if you search it, then you don't have to search. You don't have to waste like something else to search it anyways. So yeah. Then finally, for like the hand traps of the deck, of course you gotta play 3 orange, because you could search it. You gotta play 3 droll, and then 2 effect failure. So I like playing this hand trap ratio right here. Obviously this is like not the best hand trap, because you also need another fairy monster in your hand to activate it, and because we're playing less ritual fairy monsters, it's live less of the time, but also you just search it, so it doesn't even matter. It basically just becomes a Called by the Grave on your turn a lot of the time, which is the best use for it. So you gotta play 3 of it. Other than that, the true hand traps that are just good by themselves, Droll, helps you against obviously the Drytron Mirror, and a lot of decks kind of lose to Droll. It becomes very difficult for them to play if they can't add a bunch of stuff to their hand, especially like the Invoked matchup. It's going to help you play to prevent yourself from getting schismed, so you gotta play Droll, at least for that reason. And then 2 Effect Veiler. I was playing like Ghost Bell as 2 to kind of like play around Cycle Reader, but I think Effect Veiler is better in the main deck anyways, because a lot of the stuff that you would kind of Ghost Bell can be Effect Veiler to anyways, like in the Sky Striker matchup, which is going to be becoming really popular, and also the Tri Brigade matchup. It's really good to just like Effect Veiler them or like Impermanence them. So I play Veiler and Droll because they're both level 1 as well. So if you're in a really pinch, you can normal summon these guys and then try to make Mu Beta Fafnir from just those 2 level 2s. It's not as strong, and it won't get you to your diviner normal summon, but it really comes up and it can kind of help you, and at least on somewhat of a good board instead of nothing at all. So those are the ones that help you break the less, and they're also kind of the most impactful. So those are the ones that I play. Also, I play like these going second cards technically. I count Terraforming as the third Mystic Mine, so technically I like to say I'm playing 3 Mystic Mine. This is just like one of the best going second cards that you could play for this deck because it doesn't really break your hand too much when you play 2, and there's synergy with the Terraforming right there, so you can get Fafnir. And hand trapping your opponent with like an orange light really sucks because then you lose 2 cards in your hand. And then like using any one of these guys, like an effect veiler, of course is not that strong because you're just trading something 1 for 1 maybe a lot of the time, and you would like to keep your hand advantage on your opponent mostly. So when you just slap this down, you kind of just wait a couple turns to gain a bunch of cards in your hand, and they won't be able to activate any monster effects. Sometimes you could just win the game outright if they don't have an out to it. But basically you just sit on it enough until you like get a bunch of spell and trap negates into your hand with the orange lights, and you just go ahead and make Zeus and then just clear everything and kill them. So it's really good to play Mystic Mine. I think you definitely, if you're a Drytron player, you need to cut all the rest of the bricks out and just kind of just play like a bunch of Mystic Mine in your deck because it's broken. And when people try to side like spell and trap hate against you, it's going to be one less spot in their deck for a hand trap that could actually stop you because they're kind of worried about Mystic Mine. So yeah, you could just really play a bunch of mind games with your opponent, especially if you main deck it. Like you just go ahead and try to activate everything and bait everything out, and even if they have like an Appaloosa or anything, it doesn't even matter because usually Appaloosa kills you, but then you just Mystic Mine them and they can't do anything about that. So yeah, you gotta play Mine. It's the best going second card, even though it's really degen. But this deck is degen anyway, so I don't know what you're complaining about. Final 2 cards right here are Called by the Grave and Instant Fusion. I kind of count Instant Fusion as a going second card sometimes too because, the Millennium Eyes can kind of counter and negate, so that's really good going into some boards. And then Called by the Grave, of course, is really good going first to stop any hand trap that your opponent might have. Even an Ash could kill you sometimes, so having Called by the Grave for that, it really just ensures that you can go full combo and you just basically FTK your opponent. So yeah. Gotta play those. To go through the side deck, to go through the extra deck really quick, double Fafnir, Beatrice, and Orange Arclight. These are all the combo pieces. Kind of helps you search whatever that you need in your deck. So if you like miss one thing, one of these things are gonna help you get to it, regardless. So like if you miss the ritual spell, you can use any of these to get you to a ritual spell. If you miss a ritual monster, you can use these to get you to whatever to dump. If you miss a Drytron name, you can use these guys to get you to there. So they really like synergize well to each other because they almost all do the same thing, which is just adding the missing pieces of what you need for your combo. So you play 2 of this just because he's really good for your first and second turn, especially if you get hand trapped on it, like Effect Veiler or Impermed. You can use a second one, so gotta play 2 of that. I was playing a Pega Ruler instead of the second Arclight, but I think Arclight is just necessary for follow-up on your next turn because you're always gonna have like another Diviner in your turn if you don't use it as a negate, so you could just use it for the second Herald. And then for the Link monsters, gotta play all of these. Just like these are really good to go into for your combo right here. Link Karibo is always good to end on. IP is always really good to end on. These are really good to just break boards. Obviously, this is the combo right here that you're gonna end on a lot of the time. You could usually end on like IP with Herald of Ultimateness and a Beatrice, and that's your end board. And it's pretty much unbeatable. Then for like the other utility, just like these Link boss monsters right here, Appaloosa and Boral Sword, you go into Appo when you get drolled, and you go into Boral Sword to kill your opponent. You don't really need to play Access Code in this deck because it's not like you're playing like a bunch of, you are playing a bunch of Link monsters, but you kind of won't ever need to go into it because you just want to kill with like the least amount of resource investment. and it's not like you're ending on like a whole huge board that has like 8k damage with that anyways, so you need Boral Sword. Also, the best extra deck monster in the entire game, Zeus. You play Downward Zeus, so that way you can make all your Fafnirs like a double send. And you don't need to play Fucho or anything, because Fafnir is basically 2000 and can beat over or beat into almost anything with no problem. And it's better just to go into that almost all the time anyways. So you don't need Fucho. You could just still use Downward over it, and then go Zeus, and then have 2 sends. So that's really, really crazy, and obviously helps you break boards all day. And then for the final utility pieces, we have the Restrict for the Called by the Grave, and then Natis. That's another good like card to break boards and like go through anti-spell with your Herald and stuff like that. So he's really, really good to have. Gotta play Natis. And that does it for the extra deck. I like the extra deck for this deck a lot because there's like so much utility that you can play with it, because you don't have to dedicate all your extra deck to your combo pieces like Dragon Link. So it really helps you break a bunch of boards, which is why you don't need hand traps in this deck that much. Because you can almost break every single board with just your engine, which is not a lot of decks can do. I know this video is a little bit long, but I want to thank you guys for watching it. Just to close out, I'll just go through the extra deck really quick. I mean, my side deck really quick, and just kind of show you where everything else that you could ever need is. All of your spell and trap removal right here. I only play 4 of them because you could pretty much beat through any spell board anyways, or any trap board anyways. Doesn't even matter because they will never kill you, and you could outgrind them. So you just play those 4, and then the rest of the extra is pretty much just a bunch of hand traps. I play the Ash because it's the best hand trap against almost every single deck. Bell, so I could play around Cycle Reader. I honestly just side this in going first by taking out 2 Effect Veiler, and it's pretty good against a lot of matchups as well. And then also the Triple Nib, because it's good against Rogue combo decks, it's good against almost every other combo deck, and it kind of helps you not die against a lot of decks that really have to extend to push for game, unlike you. And then finally, for the hard going second cards, pretty much, gotta play Natasha because this card is broken. Mind Control, which is like another Natasha, and Mystic Mine is just the 3rd copy. I usually replace it with Fafnir or whatever when I go second, and they don't know I have mine, so I play like 4 copies of that. So yeah, that does it for all of that. I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know what kind of build of Drytron you've been playing with, and let me know how it's doing for you.